Hi, everybody. Welcome to another podcast, The Case for Construction Culture, Balancing Safety and Profitability. I'm with John Grayson from the Builders Group. Welcome, John.
Thanks for having me. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
this.
really a pleasure and a privilege to have a guy at your level at this event. John is Senior Safety Specialist at the Builders Group, and he's got quite a background in safety, having worked for places you would recognize like Cambria, Best Buy, was it, John? I'm forgetting now.
Fabcon,
I mean Fabcon, Cambria, that's right. Cambria, Fabcon,
Wells
Arthur
Fargo
Gallagher.
Insurance.
Interesting, really interesting. More than 20 years, John has been hard at it with safety. He understands the insurance world. He understands workers' comp. And I want to start off, John, just by asking, what are you excited about this year? What's got your imagination going as you're thinking about doing safety at the Builders Group now, where you guys service what, 700 plus contractors or somewhere 650? I don't know.
650 ballpark. Yeah,
650, call it contractors, and you are one of several guys servicing them, along with
correct.
Louis Moritz, along with Adam Tripp and others. What are you excited about?
Um, Tom, as I think about that, my excitement is almost always the same. I grew up the son of an iron worker who worked at heights.
Yeah.
Remind me sometime. I'll show you a picture of him on the top of the IDS. I mean, he was a connector,
Wow. Wow.
almost 800 feet up.
Did not know
But
that.
he's also had back injuries and things that happen from doing that for a career. So my excitement is always impacting worker quality of life.
Hmm.
Um, we do a lot of training, and
Yeah.
so when I get in front of a group, I never want it to be this mundane thing. I want it to be something where I'm impacting their thoughts about safety and how they work and thinking about the future.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, John. I know it's super important to have a personal story in your investment and why you're keeping people from those soft tissue injuries. We were just chatting about how often these injuries are backs and shoulders, and they're debilitating, and they're
Yeah.
affect your marriage and your kids and your ability to go have fun on the weekend, and all that is quality of life. So important, John. Uh,
But one thing I'm really aware of, Tom, and that that's the second part of my excitement
mhm.
is no matter how much I'm in front of a group, whether it's one time a year or 10 times a year,
Yeah.
it takes a team effort with that company in order to make the changes. If I'm in front of them once, what's going on the other 364 days?
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
very important. And
Yes, it is.
I don't have success stories. We have success stories, is how I think about it.
Yes, absolutely. Team is super key, John. Absolutely. Um, so what are some of your challenges? I get the excitement. I love the excitement, John. What are some things that are challenging this year? Our world is kind of nuts on a lot of levels these days. What are some things that you see and you understand to be some big challenges in your world of safety and the cultures you're trying to create, the teams you're trying to build?
Well, my number one challenge, just for me personally, is always getting better at what I do. And
Uh-huh.
that's in safety. That's as a dad, a son, a husband, a brother. I have five sisters, two
Wow.
children. Um, Always challenging myself in all those phases of life. I think about it like a football team. You have
Uh-huh.
all the phases that you want to be successful in.
Yeah.
And so in safety, I'm always trying to be better at delivering the message and convincing people. Convincing might not be the right word, but you know what I mean. Trying to,
Sure. Sure.
I,
Persuading,
yeah,
cajoling,
uh,
encouraging, depending on the moment in the crowd.
correct,
I do.
correct.
I do
And
know.
keeping the passion. It's easy to start to get bogged down with stuff and repeating yourself with safety messages and not having that passion anymore. So part of my challenge is to do that and just staying excited about it. Uh,
Yes.
but then, as we talked about a little bit before, there's always the challenges in construction with hiring woes, with
Hmm.
tissue injuries, as you said. And then I have this little thing about people believing in common sense. And if you want to go down that road, you just let me know.
Yeah, no, do it. I like your insight. Common sense
Okay.
versus common experience. Say a little bit about that, John.
Right. When I talk to people, I'll have groups anywhere from 5 people to 100 people, and
Mhm.
I'll ask the group who believes in common sense, and I'll get probably 90% hands going up.
Sure, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Common. Yeah, there's not there. They don't have any nowadays. These Gen Xers and Gen Zers, all they have is their cell phone. They don't have any common
exactly.
sense. I've
That's
heard it.
exactly
I've heard it
what
a
it
dozen
is.
times.
And it's not that I don't believe there should be some level of people being smart about things, but I believe in
Yeah.
common experience. I had a group together just yesterday, and I kind of picked on a guy over here who had the gray hair,
Hmm.
and I said, do you honestly believe that the 22-year-olds out on the floor right now that they have the same sense that you have after you've done this for this long?
Hmm.
And when I pressed him on that, he went from saying I believe in common sense to, oh no, maybe I don't anymore. And your experience is not my experience, is not their experience. It's
That's
just
right. That's
we
really
got to be
good,
careful.
John. That's really good. I love that intervention. You're the first guy that I've heard talk about that like that, and it's really true. We assume just because we're in our 50s or 60s, everyone knows everything we know. There's this assumption, and there's not always a lot of great awareness in construction. And I'm not talking about intelligence. There's so many smart, good guys, but sometimes we lack that awareness that the
Absolutely
22-year-old has not lived my 58 years and does not have the sense I have. Uh,
correct.
and but what's common experience then?
Well, it's you take those workers that have done it for a while, they've experienced, so construction evolves all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they did things differently 30 years ago than the way we do it now. And they've seen that evolution and they've
Mm-hmm.
learned from that evolution. And you get somebody that's newer in there, they haven't seen the evolution. They're just
Yeah.
out there right now learning it on the spot.
Yep.
And I think that's a really important. And I'm not just trying to point out the younger workers because
Yep.
when I worked in the field in construction, I would have a new employee that was coming out of the hall that was 40 years old.
Yep.
You can't assume that that 40-year-old has that same experience just because they
Yep.
are of that age.
So true, John. My son is 24 and he started a landscaping job recently, a couple months ago, and he's been out
Sure.
there doing the physical work, which is great. He has not done a lot of that. I'm glad he's in the trades. Like you, he went to UMD,
Yeah.
and but he didn't finish, so he's wrestling with it, trying to figure out what to do. But he was hammering, taking a big rubber sledge, hammering a 300-pound steel beam. They were doing some steel erection, and it went into place quickly and hit him in the rib cage.
Sure.
Fortunately, it just glanced off, but it gave him a darn good bruise. He did not have the common sense, maybe, or the common experience to know when he hit that thing, it was going to drop 8 inches and hit him in the side. He thought
Right.
it would slowly go in, and the other guys on site, thought he was a young dumb idiot. He's a smart kid, but he didn't ever have the experience. He's never hammered in a 300-pound steel beam. He
Right.
didn't know it would drop 8, 10 inches in a half a second and hit him in the. So I know what you're talking about there. It's very interesting distinction you're making. I love it. Um, anything else that's any other challenges you see or you experience personally?
Um, Not that I can think of right on the spot, unless you want to go into hiring.
Well, that's a common one. Yeah, I think we know that. Everyone in construction is struggling. Yes, that's
Right.
a common one.
I did want to make the point though, I had some contractors make some interesting comments to me lately. So, a lot more of these contractors are trying to hire more by referral than by posting a job.
Okay. Yes,
That does lead to a lot of family
yes,
stuff going on within companies,
yes.
which can be interesting. again, in that training yesterday, somebody told me something about nepotism, and I'm like, okay, yep, that is
Yeah.
going on.
Oh boy, I know that story.
But I had an interesting one, I think it was 2 years ago, where somebody asked me how can I get good people? And I mentioned, okay, referrals is probably a really good one. And I said, but what I'm hearing from other contractors right now is you have to poach. You have to offer 25 cents more an hour to grab good people from your competitors.
Yeah.
And he was from a small town, and he said, well, I don't want to, I know those people that own those other companies. I don't want to steal their people. And that integrity really was interesting and refreshing for me. That was a really great story, and a really that owner really impressed me.
Wow, that is impressive, John. Awesome. The old-fashioned values are still living in these small towns, apparently.
You can find them. You can still find
They're
them.
out there, even occasionally, even in the big towns. Which brings me to another question, and that's culture. Because a small town culture is different than a big city culture. A
Yeah.
company of 10 people is different than a company with, 1,000 people. When you think about culture and safety, what are some of the things you think about? How do you define culture, John, in your world?
When I thought about that, knowing the title of your podcast, I got lazy at first, and I came up with that age-old saying, I can't define it, but I know it when I see it,
Yes, yes,
which has come up in a lot of
that's
political situations and all
that's
sorts of
right.
stuff.
Yes, yes.
So I tried to think harder without looking on the internet and come up with my own way of
All
thinking.
right, all
Okay.
right.
So
Okay.
this is my first pass at that. Uh, Collective values, beliefs, and behaviors. You take a
Uh-huh.
group of people, and a culture is what that collection is. However, again, John's opinion, I'm not a psychologist, but humans have a tendency to accept, adopt, or reject that collective culture.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
can you can try to set that culture at either the executive level or at the ground level, but
Yep.
you're not ever probably going to be homogenous, but that's the goal.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I was just yesterday at the AGC National Convention, and one of the guys there defined culture as what safety culture is what people do when no one's looking.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you'd agree with that. And I know safety is shaped by culture, and culture is formed by skills and values of the leaders largely, and then what people, as you indicated, accept or don't accept. You can't impose it. You can't just say, "All right, everybody has to do this here." It is a little complicated to the process by which a culture is formed is complex and over time, and not you can't nail it with one simple idea. It's multifaceted, right? So what kind of training do you have? Because your job, John, partly, if I understand it, is to influence culture in the right direction, is to
Hmm.
talk about things like common sense and common experience and push that culture in the direction of greater awareness, greater safety, better communication. What kind of training, or besides hard knocks, and maybe that's your main training, but and I know you went to UMD up in Duluth, but what's your training that you and other leaders have to influence those safety outcomes?
Well, and we've partnered on that. So you've seen some of what Louis and I have done.
Yep.
Uh, and we're still trying to develop that to make it better and better to give, in the industry that we promote people because they're good at the trade.
Yes.
And then we make them a leader and say you have to learn time cards, you have to learn uh, management, but we don't really back that up with any training. So the
Absolutely.
the leadership training, that group I had yesterday was just really fun because when I let in with that comment that have any of you had any training on how to approach a person and address an issue or how to give positive reinforcement, we
Yeah.
forget about that in the
Yeah.
trades.
Yeah, we do.
We're yelling and screaming or we're not saying anything at all.
Yep.
Um, so that is one thing we do. Uh, Again, it's still really in development, and you've been a really good help with TBG figuring out how to make that work. And We've gotten great feedback on that, and I think it is something that has been missing in the industry. But
Yes.
when you're a contractor, when do you have time to do that and develop your employees?
The missing piece. Thank you for the acknowledgement, John. It's a real privilege to partner with an organization as quality as TBG. So it's an honor.
I
Uh,
have a couple of interesting culture comments, if you don't mind. Do we have
sure,
time
go
for that?
ahead. Sure.
Okay, cool. Because I've talked to a few safety professionals about this, and one of my, I call it the litmus test for culture in a company is when I go in, let's say it's a warehouse or a yard where there's forklifts in operation,
Yeah.
and I'm being toured by a supervisor, a CFO, a CEO, a owner. Somebody is walking me through there that has authority.
Yeah.
Right away, I look at seat belts on the forklift.
Yeah.
Are they wearing them?
Yeah.
And if that operator doesn't panic and buckle it when they see a stranger with a boss walking through, signal number one about culture.
Yeah.
If the boss doesn't tell them to buckle that thing, that's signal number two about the culture.
Yeah.
And so that's like the John Grayson litmus test. I look at forklifts a lot, just because we know they tip over. We need people in their seat. We need those seat belts buckled. And
Yeah. And they're not buckled most of the time when I've
correct.
been around them. I
Yep.
I have to confess, I drove a fork years ago and I did not always buckle in.
Yep.
I'm in
Especially
a wa-
if you're up and down from the seat, that's usually the thing is,
Up and down. I'm in a warehouse putting
yep.
diamond blades up on the shelf, 10 feet in the air. And it's like, I really have to, this was 23 years ago, but do I really have to buckle up for that? I did not always buckle up, John. It's hard to
I,
do. I agree. We need to do it. I agree it's the right thing. And it's often not done, even by guys like me that are supposed to really care about safety. I was not perfect.
when I was at Gallagher, I was tasked with learning grocery safety and
Hmm.
liability and property and all that stuff. And
Hmm.
I met a person who had done that for years and years. And I talked to him about my forklift example, and he said, "You know what my litmus test is?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I go into a place and I look into the employee bathroom. If
Mm.
that place is a dump, figuratively, not literally, but if that place is terrible, it tells me how they treat employees." And
Really good.
I would add the break room to that too. Like, where are we giving our people a place to relax and to take care of themselves?
Nice.
Is it a nice place or now
Nice.
in construction, sometimes you have no people are in their cars, they're wherever they can go, but you understand what I'm saying there.
That's totally, totally, John. It's really, really good points. Couple more questions.
Yeah,
This podcast is about balancing safety, profitability. How often do you still hear people saying, "John, we can't buckle our seatbelt. We're stressed. The guy gets in and out of that forklift 20 times in 10 minutes. We don't have the time for this safety. We can't, put 15 cones on the highway. 10 is enough. Guys don't have all day. How often do you still hear that conversation at all, or do they trust you, or do you hear about that? Is that
still hear
sort
it.
of thing? Yeah.
Yep,
And,
still
and
hear it, but
what do you say? What do you hear? What do you say?
but it is case by case. I have many companies that will tell their people, um, we will buy you what you need to be safe. We
Yeah.
will provide the time to be safe. They make no, they define it and there's no gray area with some companies. And then there's others where they might say that, but the way they compensate people and the way they run their jobs, it's not the reality of the job.
Yeah.
So, what do I say about it? I just try to teach that um, quality, production, safety triangle. It's an old theory that's been
Yeah.
around forever.
Yeah.
They can work in harmony.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm not going to name the company, but one of the safest, highest quality, and highest productive company that TBG works with, they make it work, and their product is top notch.
Mm.
And their clientele is picky. Okay, they have high expectations.
Hmm.
and this company meets them every time. And I know it can be done because of examples like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I know it too. And in fact, nowadays, it's different than it was 20 years ago, John, but with all the liability and the insurance stuff, and if you're if your safety record isn't strong, you won't get business. And that was not always the case. I think it's more and more the case. Is that not true in your experience?
Absolutely true.
You've got to hit high safety numbers to get quality, top-notch jobs.
That is correct. More and more generals or even owners of jobs are saying they're looking at your experience modification from a work comp standpoint, or they're looking at your TRIR from a OSHA standpoint. And if your numbers don't, if they don't look good, a lot of times you can't even bid a job, let alone get the job.
Yeah, really true. So maybe a last question, or unless you want to add something after this, but do you have a story, John, of a successful change effort you've helped lead, or maybe one that failed? I mean, so I have done culture change projects. We've lowered injury rates 70% for one organization. And then I've had things that didn't go well, that flopped. And I always learn more by the flops. But do you have a success or a flop that you can tell without getting anybody in trouble or going to jail?
I can't, I probably won't name names, but I do
No
have.
names. No names.
And I'm going to call it not a flop, but of a less successful. How's that for you?
Perfect. Nice frame. Nice frame.
One of the jobs I went into when I was a safety management type of person, the position had been void for a little while.
Yeah.
And all I did was went in and worked with the executive management and the upper management to start doing regular meetings with the employees once a month, every shift, which it was 24/7 operation. And we started doing that, and it wasn't always just training, it was just a safety talk sometimes. Hey, we care about you, we don't want you getting hurt, that type of thing. Within about 12 months, the recordable incident rate went way down, and the work comp numbers started to look a lot better just in 12 months. So it was a really quick flip for these employees to hear that we cared about them and that we didn't want them to get hurt.
Mhm.
Another part of that was doing Spanish speaking courses.
Mm,
So we did a separate meeting for all of our Spanish speakers.
mm,
And I think for them to hear that for the first time, not trying to figure out English
mhm,
and understanding that the company cared about them, I think
mm.
that was a big part of our success. I really do.
Awesome. Boy, that's not done enough in my experience, John. Some of my work in Colorado. I'm going to Texas in 2 weeks. I'm actually going to do some hands-on demo saw safety, and they say three-quarters of the guys in the room, 40 of the 50 or more, are going to be Spanish only. And I said, mi español es muy pobre. I necesito una persona que hablen. I need a translator, as you can tell. I mean, I'll throw in a few words,
Yeah.
but they have got to translate almost everything I say into Spanish, or that is a lousy training, demo saw safety training.
And I believe to this day, and that was quite a while ago, that the impact of providing that special meeting just for them with the translation instead of everybody in a room and making them feel inferior,
Second class, the
right?
special meeting just with them. Oh, that's
Yes,
good, John. That's an extra expense. It's extra time.
it
Uh,
was the right thing to do.
I think it was the right thing to do, and that gives me an interesting idea because I'm frequently asking for a translator. I should be asking for a second session for just with the, but they're also trying to integrate the guys a little bit, right? And the
Right.
truth is, some of them know some English, so I can see both sides of that coin. But I like your idea that sometimes a separate Spanish only meeting is important. I think it is important to do both the combination and the separate meeting. So that is a really great idea. Any final thoughts, John, as we're wrapping up here from you about your work or safety in general, or any final thought from you?
Um, Only that I think we're doing better. And I think sometimes in the safety world, we beat ourselves up and we see injuries and we think, why is this still happening? But if you look at rates and fatalities and even citations going back, we
Hmm.
are doing better. And I think anybody in safety, we just need to continue to push the envelope. Don't settle, don't get stagnant, keep up the good work. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much my message.
Great message. Great message, John. How can people find you?
Oh boy, I am on LinkedIn. So John
LinkedIn,
Grayson.
John Grayson, pretty common name. The Builders Group.
Hmm.
If you Google the Builders Group, John Grayson, I'm sure your name would pop up as Senior Safety Specialist. Uh,
And the Builders Group is going to have more and more video content coming out on LinkedIn.
great.
I just finished one with a member that'll, I'm guessing, will be posted in the next couple of days. Now, let's give it a week because you never know.
Yeah,
But our content is going up with a marketing firm that's really aggressive on that. So there's going to be more content for
excellent.
people to take in and hopefully learn something.
Excellent. You guys keep developing, and I'm impressed that you're so committed to giving people some leadership development, some training, and you've engaged people like me to help deliver that. In addition to the great technical stuff, you guys have a full-blown technical resource center. You have a mobile vehicle that moves around. Just really, you guys are doing great work here in Minnesota and in the Midwest with some of our contractors that need what you offer. So thank you for what you do, John. And I love your idea to keep it getting better at what we do. So thank you again, and
Thank you for the recognition. Much appreciated.
you're welcome. We will see you out in the field somewhere, I'm sure soon. Thanks.
Sounds great.
All righty.